Hello, how is everybody doing? I am cutting some pieces of cardstock, like last minute, right? Oh, it's time to go live. Maybe I should see if I have enough card panels because I'm always talking about how I have card panels just around. I cut them in advance. Oh, I ran out of card panels. So I'm just slicing some up now. While I do this, I want to say hello to everybody who is already here. So yeah, I'm just using my trimmer off camera here. And I have Angel behind the badge today. And Angel will be there popping in any links to products I talk about, answering some questions that maybe I don't see, because one of the things about hosting live is you're crafting, you're talking, and you're trying to read comments. So it is possible that I might miss some of those comments and questions. So Angel will be my right-hand lady to be able to answer those for you guys. So definitely say hello to her in the chat. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Jen Raza. I am one of the co-founders of Altenew, and I am thrilled to be here every Tuesday. And it is 3 p.m. Eastern time because I am here in Massachusetts. So whatever time that ends up being in your time zone, just make a note because that's when you can tune in and check us out while we're live. If you ever miss out on the live stream, please watch the replay because then you can get filled in on what the challenge is for the week. So we do have a challenge here every week. That's the whole point of this live, is to get you out of your creative rut or even just inspire you to do something that maybe you typically wouldn't do, or just have fun with the creative community and get a chance to take some time for yourself and do a little crafting. So we have a new challenge every week. And if you join us during that week and you share your project with hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, then I'll be able to check it out. And then we'll be picking and posting and talking about the winners in the following live. So it's a lot of fun. I see a lot of familiar faces who join in the challenge every week, and that's so great to see. And I am constantly inspired by your projects. A lot of times it's techniques I've either never seen or haven't tried in a while, or you use products I haven't used in a while, or you do something clever and creative. So I just love checking out everything that you guys make because we all help to inspire one another. All right, let me see who is saying hello. And if I miss you, my apologies. I've missed a lot of comments already. So I see Vicky's here, Tracy, Audrey, Carrie, Nancy, Deborah, Sunshine Graham Crafts, Miss Tamp, Marianne, and many others. If you share while we're live, then you have a chance to win a $15 gift certificate. That's in addition to the prize that we give out to the winner that gets the shout out every week. So there are a few ways that you can win. Make sure if you share the challenge while we're live, you go in the comments and just say I shared. That way, behind the scenes, after the live is done, Angel will be able to go in, pick a random winner, and then tag you. And then once you get tagged, you can just email us at winner@altenew.com and we can get you set up with your prize. All right, I think that's all of the business out of the way. Siamara, Carrie is here. Yeah, you did not know Jen was a co-founder of Altenew. Yeah, so way back in 2014, Tasneem and I had this idea for a stamp company because they were things that we wanted to craft with as people who were in the paper crafting world already, and we just didn't see it. So, when you have a problem, there are a few different ways that you can solve that problem. And for us, that way was just to design some of our own products. We wanted to see fresh new things with florals. We both kind of felt that although flowers were really pretty and there were a lot of floral stamps around, there just wasn't anything that was like fresh and new. And we wanted to give our spin on floral stamps and, of course, other stamps that beyond the floral category. But we did get known for florals right away. And I think that's what we are still known for. But we do love designing other products as well. So as a co-founder, I've also been on the product design team and designing a lot of the stamps and dies and stencils that you guys use and love. And it's just been a joy to be doing this for the last 11 years. So fun stuff. All right, so today we have a winner to announce, and give me a moment to share my screen. I'll also show you my project. Actually, I'll do that first. I finished it while we were live, which is great. Don't always do that. So this was for our mini mission. So the mini mission was to use a mini stamp set at 3x4 or smaller and use that as the only product on your project. Okay. If it had a coordinating die, you could use the coordinating die, right? If it had a coordinating stencil, you could use the coordinating stencil, but no other products. So I created this row of Victorian homes and we all picked which ones we wanted to live in last week. So if you want to check that out, definitely watch the replay and you can stake a claim on one of the houses. And we're going to have a crafting retreat imaginary party in our street of beautiful homes, because that would just be fun, right? If we are daydreaming anyway, might as well daydream big and have like this amazing party. So if you want to hear about that, go watch the replay. And for the mini mission, I was able to see a lot of projects using some mini stamps and I loved it. So it was definitely, as always, hard to pick a winner, but I did. And the winner for the last week's challenge is hopefully up on your screen right now. So the winner for this one was Nancy Sylvie and Zacco. Nancy Sylvie Zacco. I'm so sorry, or Zocco, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But this is the beautiful card that she created. And I thought it was great how she used a mini stamp, but stamped the image multiple times. This was a technique that I saw a lot of you did, and I think it really makes a big impact on the project. So you might be using a mini stamp set, but it's like the recipient would never know because you're getting such a grand look with something small. And she added some shimmer and different things like that. So big congratulations to you, Nancy, and make sure you email winner@altenew.com and let us know that you were the winner for this week's creative challenge on YouTube and Facebook, and we will get you hooked up with your prize. So I love it so much. Okay, so today we have a brand new challenge, and the brand new challenge today is the Radiant Rainbow. And I had to laugh at myself because I pretty much did a Radiant Rainbow card last time. Not intentional. I just love rainbow, and I plan these challenges in advance. So when I made this challenge, it was like a while ago and I wasn't thinking, so we get to do another rainbow, but this time that is part of the challenge. And I think this will be really great, especially that it coincides with Pride Month, even though that was not intentional either, but it's just a really fun color palette to use. And I'm sure a lot of you have your favorite color combinations of ink. So different colors that you know you like to go to for your rainbow. And if you want to join us, you just need to create a project. Doesn't have to be a card. It could be any project that features all of the colors of the rainbow. Now we're going to be a little bit loose with it. So if you want to do a pastel rainbow, if you want to do a vibrant rainbow or a jewel toned muted rainbow, you can do that. Or if you wanted to do a neon rainbow or glitter rainbow, you can interpret that however you want. You can even put a rainbow on your card. You don't have to, but just use those colors in some way. Laura says you can never have too many rainbow cards. I know. I think of Laura Bassin when I think of rainbows. She's like my go-to rainbow inspiration because she does have a way with color and she's always great with creating those colorful projects. Okay, so let's flip you down and I will show you my ink selections first. So I did pick my inks ahead of time and I chose some of the inks that we used last week just because I thought they looked really great together. Although now on screen, I'm seeing how similar the turquoise and the Easy Breezy look. So I might trade this in for maybe like Volcano Lake. We'll see. You do not have to go with Roy G. Biv as your color palette. So what I mean is you don't have to have 7 colors in your rainbow. We just need to have colors representative of a rainbow. So instead of red, I thought it'd be great to go with Coral Bliss. I have Orange Cream, Mid Yellow, Be Grateful, Turquoise, Easy Breezy, and Parrot. But let me grab Volcano Lake, still looking similar. Lagoon. All right, we'll do Lagoon. Okay, so here, I'll just put them like in a nice little circle here. So now you can see how my colors will blend into one another. So we'll set aside the Easy Breezy and that Volcano Lake. So now that I have my color palette, let's talk about the plan, the card. Very loose plan. All I did was grab some stuff. So here are some of my ideas. I usually like to talk through my ideas just in case it sparks some inspiration with one of you guys, and then I make a final decision, and then that's what I'll create live. So my first thought was maybe the Bellflower Bliss layering die set. I really love this die set. It's one of the newer ones. I actually created a whole bunch of die cuts in different colors. I'll just show this to you because I think it's super cute. Right here. And I haven't used this yet in a card. Obviously, this wouldn't work for my rainbow because it does not fit with my color palette. But this just kind of shows you what this Bellflower Bliss looks like all layered up. And in this case, I used some pink cardstock and some glitter cardstock. And then I used the other pieces when I die cut them to make different versions. So like this one has the glitter in the background. This one has the glitter in the front. This one has the glitter on the inside. So just my thought was potentially to blend some rainbow paper. So make my own custom rainbow paper using my blending brushes and these colors, and then die cut the elements from the rainbow cardstock and then assemble it. But I don't think I'm going to go with that. But that was idea number one. Idea number two was to use the Today is a Good Day stencil set, and you create this image of today is a good day to make someone happy. And I love ink blending. I love die cut layering. Okay, I talk about that all the time. Yes, of course, I love stamping, and you will see me stamping all the time. But I just have this obsession with layered die cuts and layered stenciling right now. So I thought this would be great to do that and assemble this great sentiment, this greeting, which really covers the whole front of your card if you're creating an A2 card. But I thought for a live, this would be too quick and I would be done too soon. So now my last choice is to pick one of these stencil sets. And I have the Dynamic Duo Modern Dahlia Bunch and creates these dahlias. I thought that might be great to do with a rainbow technique, or do a rainbow technique with this stencil art Amorous Dream. So after some deliberating in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, I think I'm going to go with the stencil art. And that's because this one has the white space and that will break up my rainbow colors. It might look really cool, but I'm thinking I want to go with the Amorous Dream. So as I think about this plan, I'm trying to imagine how I'm going to ink it, because I definitely want the rainbow colors to blend together. So I'm looking at how many layers we have in each of these images. Now we have the layering guide that you can check out. Give me a second and open that up. Christine, thank you for sharing it. Okay, so you can see we have the layering guide in here. And for the leaves, we have A1, A2, A3. So we have 3 layers for the leaves. And then for this flower, we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have an extra layer for that sea flower right here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, plus this centers for this last flower. So I'm thinking I'm going to need some more ink, because the plan is to do rainbow flowers, but then intensify the colors with more ink as I lay down each next stencil. Gosh, as those words were coming out of my mouth, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I will show you. It makes sense in my head, right? And that's all that matters. Okay, so let's clear out some stuff that we don't need. I will bring out my 9 by 12 inch sticky mat, just like this, and give it a nice wipe down, because when this sits around in my craft room, if I don't have it covered, it will collect dust, which is what it has been doing. So this is just a wet chamois that I'll use to wipe off that dust, and we'll give it a second to just dry. Okay, so Tracy says, how do we differentiate between CAFs and other layering dyes? Okay, so the CAF is our Craft-A-Flower, and that is part of the Craft-A-Flower subscription. You do not have to be a subscriber to get the Craft-A-Flower. However, if you're a subscriber, you will get first dibs. So you will get an early preview. You'll be able to get it before it even gets released to the general public. So it's really great if you're a fan of the Craft-A-Flower or any of the subscriptions to go and subscribe, because you'll also save some money and you can skip any of the months that you don't need or you don't want. So if there's one you don't like, you can skip it. Now, the Craft-A-Flowers utilize the keyhole system for our dies, which the non-Craft-A-Flowers also do that. So each of these dies has cutouts that help you with alignment. So there's different ones like a keyhole, there's arrows, there's a triangle. There are different holes that you can only orient in one way. So there's no question of how it's layered. Now, the Craft-A-Flower is always going to be a specific variety of flower. So we want to have realism in a lot of our products. So you're going to get a more realistic, less like artistic interpretation of a flower, just like more like what you would see in nature. So that's what we do for the Craft-A-Flowers. Now, for the regular releases, we also release layering dies, such as the Bellflower Bliss. Now, could this be a Craft-A-Flower? Yes, right? We'd probably have to make some changes so it's a little bit more accurate to what an actual bellflower looks like and how it grows. But it's just a little bit more of like a whimsical take. So you can have regular layering dies in the regular release, but then also the Craft-A-Flower every month. You know that for sure there's going to be a new Craft-A-Flower every month, but we do not guarantee that there's going to be other like layering flower dies in each month's release. I hope that makes some sense. Maybe. So that's how you can differentiate them, but they both use the keyholes. And I love layering flower dies regardless of if they are Craft-A-Flowers or not. Okay, so let's start off with our first layer. So this is the first layer for the leaves. And I think I'm going to use like Lagoon and Parrot. So I'm going to go in my drawer and get some more colors. So Bamboo and Olive to finish off those greens. And I'm going to get Mountain Mist and should we do Emerald? That might look nice, an emerald. Okay. There's going to be a lot of inks out here because with rainbow, there's a very wide color palette. So I'm going to start with the Mountain Mist and I'm going to blend it into Bamboo. And it's going to be interesting because these are not the same color. But again, we're going rainbow, so I'm not worried about realism. And if I'm ever confused on how this gets arranged and blended, I have the layering guide here to help. And there's also etched guides on the stencils that, of course, you can't see because of my lights. But there are etchings here that say A1, stencil 1, so you know what it is that you are blending. Okay, so my mat will hold on to my ink for me. And I'm just going to start here and blend outwards, just like this. And then for the Bamboo, I'll come in from the outer edge and blend in. Now, I do want to hold down any floppy pieces. So there are some little tiny delicate pieces here or there that the grid mat will not hold down because the sticky mat is really just holding the outer edge. So it's not going to hold down these little delicate flaps. So I'm just going to put it down with my fingers so that I don't mess that up. Oh, don't forget this one up here. Okay, I'll set this aside and grab another ink blending tool. This one is going to be now for Bamboo. And my ink blending brushes are in the new storage. No, they're not in color order. If you were thinking, Jen, why are they not in rainbow order? I haven't done that yet. Oh, man. Okay, Just blending out to in, out to in. And I love it already. So whenever you're using rainbow colors, you want to think about which colors would blend nicely into one another without creating a muddy mess. So what I mean by that is know your color wheel, because the color wheel has it showcases the properties of the different colors and their relationships to one another. And you can really learn a lot about complementary colors, which I'll talk about first, because those are the ones opposite one another on the color wheel. And if you blend together opposite colors from the color wheel, what you might end up with is brown, gray, muddy, murky colors because of those relationships between the two colors. So for example, blue and orange are opposite one another on the color wheel. Yellow and purple are, as well as red and green. So if you mix those colors, you might not get a good look. But if you go with colors that are closer to one another on the color wheel or in the rainbow order, so if you think Roy G. Biv, which is how I learned my rainbow colors back in the day, then you know that the ones that are next to each other will blend really beautifully. Now, that being said, can you break the rules? Absolutely. Have I blended together opposite colors and made it look good? Yeah, but you have to be a little bit more careful with it. So if you're going to be blending together opposite colors, I recommend the space where they join. Don't do as much overlapping. So here with the greens and the blues and the turquoises, I can overlap and I know it'll look good. But if I wanted to blend together like the parrot with the coral bliss, we might get some weirdness in the middle. So I would just really get lighter and lighter with the parrot towards the center, and lighter and lighter with the coral bliss towards the center. Let me see if I could just grab a piece and show you what I mean. That should be easier. And this is all part of color theory. So if you want to learn more about it, just do a search for that, look up color theory, and you'll find all the information that you need. And even having a color wheel nearby will help you as you create, just to understand the relationships of the colors. Okay, so here's my coral bliss. And let me take my parrot. I'm going to be cross-contaminating. Here is the parrot. And I'm going to go over in the middle with the different colors and see what we get in the middle. Okay, so the green looks nice. The coral looks nice. And in the middle, we kind of have this browny mud color. However, if I wanted to blend these together, I start saturated here. I'm going to get lighter and lighter as I go towards the center, the part where they would overlap and blend. Nancy has her color wheel nearby, and it helps. It really does. It helps you choose color combinations. It helps you with blending. There's just a lot of ways you can use it. You can also get one of those color wheel pins. The Gray Muse, I think maybe other companies have similar ones, where you could kind of just rotate and you can see like tertiary colors and what that means, and the like again the opposite ones, the complementary colors. So you can learn a lot about color theory with that. Oh, can't talk and work at the same time. I completely just contaminated that. Let's grab a new one. Okay, so going now green into green. And I'm going to start stronger here and get lighter and lighter as I get to that point where they're going to start overlapping, okay? I'm going to have to pick this up and show you. It's looking very splotchy on camera, but I'm being really careful in the middle where I have them blended. It's like looking neon. Okay, it's not neon. There you go, a little bit. Okay, but you get the idea. Okay, so I did not get my muddy mess here because I was just really delicate with how I blended them in the center. Okay, so that's just some tips for working with different colors that might help if you're creating a project for this week's challenge. Okay, so let's set back aside that. Let's think of what colors were going to be next. So we did Mountain Mist and Bamboo. Now I'm going to do Parrot and Lagoon. And we're going to get up the next stencil of this set. So I had stencil 1 that I did first. And now I'm going to grab stencil 2, line it up because we do have those etched guides, which helps completely. You know, you're getting everything where it needs to be. And now I'm going to go blending once again. So I've got my 2 blush brushes. I'm using the same ones as before. And now going into the next colors. Let me start with Lagoon first, just because that's what I did before, is I started with the pool color. And I think this is going to look so pretty. So I'm just blending from in to the outer edges of each of these leaves. And we're going to do the same things with our flowers too, just so that we're kind of making a similar look throughout. Okay, I love that. It's just intensifying those colors beautifully. And for those of you just joining us, we are making Radiant Rainbow projects. So your challenge is to utilize all the colors of the rainbow in whatever it is that you're making. And if you want to make an actual rainbow, you can. We do have some great rainbow stencils. We have the Slim, I think it's just called Slim Rainbow. Maybe Angel can help me out with that because I'm not exactly sure of the name. We have so many products. It's like if you said, all right, you have, I don't know, 5,000 children and you have to remember all of their names. It's like, okay, you love them all, but you might not remember their names. So we have 2 different rainbow stencils that I could think of off the top of my head. And like I said, one of them is a slim for like a slimline card. And the other one's just a regular rainbow set. This is looking really cool already. Don't you love when you're creating and the thing that you saw in your head is happening on the paper? I love that. Okay, let's go to our next color and our next stencil. So now here we are at stencil number 3. And this is going to add even a little bit more detail to my leaves. So now what we have to do is grab darker colors. And you can see that every time we grab darker colors, we're just intensifying it just a little bit more. So now we'll take out olive and the emerald. Okay, I'm going to start with emerald first. Marianne says, beautiful so far. Thank you so much. Tracy says, Aram had a class with blending rainbows on black. Cardstock Beyond Boundaries was the class, I believe. Thank you so much for giving that class a shout out. We have a lot of really good classes in the Altenew Academy. I would say on most products, actually all of our product types have classes. And on most techniques that you can imagine, we've got classes on. Oh gosh, this is such a beautiful color. So pretty. And then the olive, another favorite of mine. I don't know what it is about this, the tropical forest colors. I'm just so obsessed with them. I really, really love them. So get nice blending. And this is nice and rich and dark. So you'll see when I peel this off that we have a lot of depth and detail in these leaves. Then we get to start thinking about how we're going to blend the flowers. There we go. That's just spectacular, right? And again, if I wasn't doing the rainbow challenge, I probably wouldn't have blended 2 different colors into my leaves. I would probably say, oh, well, I love the tropical forest. Let me just use those. But look at the really cool detailing that you get from using the like lagoon and the mountain mist. They just look so good together. Thank you, Angel, for putting all of the links in. So all the products I'm talking about, go check out the comments so that you can see those products a little bit closer up. You could see the sample projects. You can see the layering guides. You can see ink charts, a lot of information that's super helpful. Okay. So I'm just wiping up my stencils with that same cloth that I used to wipe down my sticky mat before. All right, let me just set aside these in my drawer because I know I'm going to be bringing out more inks and I've already made quite the mess. And I'll put away these guys. All right, so now let's think about those flowers. Let's bring out the stencil art. I like that I used 2 different colors for the leaves. So let's use at least 2 different colors on each of the flowers. So what looks good together? Coral Bliss and Orange Cream will go well together. Then the mid yellow could go with the turquoise. However, we're going to get green. So again, thinking about the color wheel and what colors you get when you mix 2 together, you turquoise and yellow, or blue and yellow are going to make a green, which is fine, right? We can have the green as they blend. If you don't want the green to show, do what I did here, where, you know, you kind of just stop the color, just get lighter, 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 and then you don't really have much mixing in the middle. And then you'll be able to get those blended without really having much green, or if any green present. Just be really careful with your blending. But I think I'm going to stick with turquoise and the grape. And the yellow, maybe I'll do with orange. So we can have the orange twice. We'll see. And then these flower, or the D layer, has a center in it. So I don't want that to be the one with yellow because I'm probably going to use yellow in the center. So that could be like the one that's Coral Bliss and Orange Cream. All right, I think we've got a plan. Again, as I speak out loud and my thoughts ramble on, it may or may not make sense to you, but it will become apparent as we go. So we're going to start with the B flower because A was for the leaves. And now we have B, and B is going to create the flower here on the bottom right. So now when I look at my stencils, I need to grab stencil number 4. This is just like a puzzle, you guys. If you haven't done our layered stencils before, they may look really intimidating. But honestly, as you get going, you really get used to it because you understand how to read the guide. You understand how to read the stencil. And there's an etched line right here, invisible to you, visible to me, where I'm going to line up that leaf and the leaves up top. Just kind of shimmy that into position. Now I want to be careful not to ink over this edge. If you are worried you're going to make a mess and ink over the edge, just give yourself a little safety barrier. Okay, so I'm going to just take some of this satin masking tape. All right, so let's do the orange and yellow here. Let's do the, well, let's start with the orange and nope, I'm making it up. Let's start with the Coral Bliss and the Orange Cream because honestly, I'm not sure what the other flowers are going to look like. Anybody just joining and be like, does she have any idea what she's doing? No, I don't. Like I do and I don't, right? Isn't that how we all operate? All right, Sun-Kissed, Orange Cream, Autumn Blaze. And then this one has 4 layers. So I've got Fire Brick, Pink Pearl, Coral Bliss, Heartbeat, and Berry Mocha. Got these. These guys I don't need right now. And I could use the small ink blending tool here because it's just a bigger surface area. But I know that the center is going to get inked up with darker colors. So I'm not worried about really getting the middle of this inked up. It's really more important just to get the outer edge inked up because as I go in, it's going to get darker in color. So let's grab a nice fresh, no, actually I don't need to use a fresh one. This one looks good for pink pearl. And then for the oranges, I've got this, which has a little bit of orange on it. Okay, now I'm not going to blend this the way you would potentially expect me to. I am going to blend it from side to side. I think this will be cool. Okay, so this one is the pink pearl. I'm starting on the left edge and blending from left to right. Like I said, the outer edge is more important right now than the inside edge because of the additional layers that are going to be going on the stencil. But if this was the only layer that I wanted to ink up, I would probably use a larger ink blending brush, such as the small or the large that we have. And again, it's great that I have this barrier because I think I just scooped over to where my leaves were, and I'm glad that those are protected. Now I'm going to take the one for Sun-Kissed and start on the other side. Ooh, pretty. Bring that in. And since these colors are nearby in the color wheel, they can overlap and blend, and they'll just look like a little sunset. I think that'll look pretty. Okay. Again, I'm still leaving that inner area a little less inked because I know it's going to be getting more ink soon. So set aside Sun-Kissed and Pink Pearl. I do not need them right now. And let's go into the next colors. So I have my orange cream here. And I'll use the same brush just because that's me. I don't worry about having a different brush for each different color. And the next layer is B2. And I see that my B2 has some delicate little pieces. So I don't want to be too aggressive as I blend. I want to make sure that I'm maybe putting a finger down as I blend over those little pieces so that they don't flip up. Now, this is also from another, this is part of the B layer flower, but I don't want that inked up right now. So I can put my tape over that as a barrier. If I'm worried about this one down here, I can put this piece as a barrier. Just extra insurance here. Orange cream, opening that up. Orange is on the right side. And like I said, even though my stencil is being held in place by the sticky mat, these little floppy pieces are not being held down. So just going to be a little extra cautious going around those. Blending in towards the center, just like I did on that first layer. Okay, now we can put this one away and take out our Coral Bliss and start on the left side and bring it in. Carrie's mentioning that's 170 plus brushes for all the Altenew inks. I'm guessing you're responding to somebody's comment. Did somebody say that they have a brush for every ink? I know people do. Hintity hint, I know some people on the Altenew team that have a brush for every single ink. And I love them for it. I don't have the storage figured out yet for that. So I'm okay doing what I'm doing here and just sharing the same brush for different colors. Okay, Coral Bliss out of the way. Autumn Blaze coming in. And we'll move the stencil over to the next position. And you'll see this starting to come together so beautifully. It's really spectacular. So we've got all the rainbow colors coming in. Oops. Let me just add this one. I wanted to make sure I had the right layer. You always want to check the etching. So you can't just assume that it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, because like in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why we do that is not to confuse people, but we arrange them the way they fit best on the stencil. So this is a really large image. And if we had this large image here, you'd have more risk of over inking. So that's why it's a little bit out of order. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you're ever unsure, just stop, read it, and then see where the next layer is. And this helps, the layering guide. Now I haven't cleaned my stencil off yet. If I wasn't live, I probably would have. So if I get any ink smudging around where I don't want it, apologies for that. You guys don't need to watch me clean stencils. Autumn Blaze. Make sure I have my orange blender. Carefully holding on. This is totally a sunset flower. I think it's so pretty. Just coming across, and then the heartbeat. And you can see with each layer, it's getting a little bit faster too, because the details get smaller and smaller. Now this is going to pack a punch, you guys. Very deep color. So I'm going to start with like a really light hand. If you ever don't want the intensity of, let's say, like the darkest color. So this is a flower with 4 color layers plus the one in the center. So technically 5. If I did not want to use such dark colors, then you could just ink up lighter in one pass. And then when you put the next one on, the next area of the stencil on, do the same color, but then just be a little bit heavier with your inking. And that will also give you the depth that you need. I'm bringing this over, and here we go. Can't wait to like pick this up and show you. Again, the glare, I think I need to fix for my next live, because I think the way the light is shining on the cardstock right now, I'm getting like a weird glare. And the etching that I can see will help me align this layer. And this is just going to add that little extra bit of contrast. So heartbeat, now I don't need anymore. I'm hoping that I have time to finish this. If not, you guys know the drill. I will be finishing up during the week, and then you can see the conclusion of my project once we have the next live after that. Okay, so I'm going to be using the darkest orange now, which I have is Fire Brick. Starting at the right and going in. Super dark color. So this is all of those deep, deep shadows within the flower. And then another deep, deep, deep color is the berry mocha. You'll see these colors look quite similar the darker you get. And that's fine, because it's just adding that real dark shadow in. Okay. Again, you can't see that contrast for some reason. It's there, I promise. And then here's the final layer. And what I'm going to do on the final layer is I'm actually just going to mix both of these. So this will just be like a super duper dark color in the middle, almost black. Just like that. Hey, there you go. See, that's the true color. I don't know what this is, you guys. This glare where like everything looks like the same color. It is not, I promise you. There we go. Okay, so that is one color. So now you can see how pretty these rainbow flowers are going to be. All right, so I'm making decisions now. Since the pink is here, the pink and red, I definitely want the purples here and the blues here. Okay, and then we'll have to decide for the last flower soon. I'm really unsure of that last flower, you guys. Maybe it's good that I might end up doing that off screen. Because I want everything to look harmonious. I don't want to neglect the yellow. There's just a lot of choices that have to be made, but I'm not ready to make them. So here are my pinks and reds that I don't need right now. So I'll get those set aside. Same goes for the oranges. And then I have my Be Grateful, my turquoise. So, why am I forgetting which color this came from? Okay, got it. Okay, so let's start here with Sea Breeze. And I have to look at the next stencil. So now we're moving along to the flower on the left. And that's going to be this little guy here. Okay, so I'm skipping this top one for now because I don't know how I'm going to do that. We're going here to the D, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers plus the 2 center layers, which I know I'm going to be doing some yellow and or orange for that. So for this, I need stencil number 6, which is right here. Can you see the 6 right there? And starting out with this one. Let me make sure I get the orientation the way I need it. Just like that. Perfect. Again, this is how the etchings can help. Now, since this Be Grateful wasn't part of a larger purple set, I may actually change my choice of purples. I'm going to make a real departure here because I don't have my other purple fresh inks with me. Again, the craft room organization that never ends. So I'm actually going to set aside Be Grateful, and I'm going to use some of my crisp inks. So I have Wisteria, Hydrangea, Ultraviolet, and Andromeda. I think they should go well with these blues. And I wanted the purples on the right and the blues on the left. And I just need some more ink blending brushes. So I've got this one. I'll use a different one for the blue. Let's use this one. And then this one for the purples. Okay, now I have those pieces of tape once again because I don't want to get too close up top. And I don't want to get too close right here. And let's start with that Sea Breeze. So I'm going to start pretty lightly because this is an intense blue family. Some of the blues we have start off quite light, almost like, I'm not going to say like you can't see them at all, but like super duper light. This is just a little bit darker, so I don't want it to be too intense off the bat, since I know I'm going to be adding the other deeper colors on top. And now Wisteria. And I'm starting in from the right side. Oh, this is going to be a pretty flower. So pretty. Now, when I add the flower center here, I am going to be going over like where I'm blending right now. Just the way that the stencil works. It's not like a stamp. When you're designing a stamp, you could have floating parts. So like the detailed areas, you can have a little dot here, you can have a dot here, you can have a dot here. For the stencil, it's a little bit harder because let's say I didn't want there to be any ink in the center. I can't just have like a floating mask, right? A floating piece of plastic right there because you wouldn't know where to put it exactly. So it's a little bit harder to design a stencil set because you have to make sure that the areas are strong enough to be connected. All the little bridges are there. You don't have too many flapping up pieces. And because of that, some of our stencils, you might need to be careful when you're inking. So where I have this yellow flower center, I want to be really light so that that yellow is going to show up. So I don't want to have purple down there and then I put the yellow on top and then we get mud, because we talked about those complementary colors, purple and yellow opposite on the color wheel. So I'm not really putting any blue or purple like right here, because I know that I'm going to have my flower centers there. Okay. Talking a lot about color theory today. All right, setting aside wisteria and now going to the next layer. So this is the D flower. So I want to go to D2. I check the etching and I'll see that that's right here. And yeah, I think timing wise, I'll be able to finish this flower for you all today. And then the completed card will have to be done on my own time. And then you guys will see it next week. So that's a good incentive for you to return for next week's challenge. And I want to tell you that the week after that, I'm actually not going to be here because I'm taking a family vacation to the beach. We're so excited because our son Logan is going to get to see the beach for the first time. Right now, he is 14 months old. So I really hope he loves the water because we love it. I feel like there's so much to pack when you're thinking about a baby at the beach, you know, because we have to have the little tent. We have to make sure we have his sun hat and a little, maybe like an umbrella and clean water. Like if I go to the beach, I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to go sit on the sand for an hour or two or whatever and don't have to worry about timing. But it's going to be a little bit more challenging, I think, with a baby. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So now we are going in and blending in the purple. And just as I thought, these colors look awesome together. And now, hopefully what I was saying before will make some more sense. So do you see this area right here? This is where the yellow is going to get blended at the end. If I went really heavy with my purple and went in that area, I would end up having to put yellow on top of the purple, which I'm trying to avoid. So I was just careful when I inked the first layer and I just wasn't really inking in the middle. Now we are going on to the next part, which is D3. Lining everything up like that. And now we have ultraviolet and tide blue. I'm really excited to see everybody's rainbow projects this week. I want to see how you're all inspired by a rainbow for what you create. This is getting really nice and deep, nice and dark. This would make a really cool like galaxy flower. I think it was maybe the first creative challenge that I did a couple months ago. And I think that was when I did the galaxy die cut flowers, which was really fun. So go back in the archives if you want to see that one. But I think this would make a really cool galaxy flower if you just took some white ink spray or some gouache and splattered it down. That would look really fantastic. Here is the last of the petal layers before we go and do the flower center. And this is just little tiny details. So the starlight, just nice and dark to deepen that area. And then with the Andromeda, I love that color name. Laura says, where can I see everyone's rainbow projects? So everyone who plays along is going to use the same hashtag. It's hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. So if you do a search for that on social media, you'll be able to find all of the linked or all the projects that use that hashtag. And most people do add it or they add their projects to the Altenew Facebook or Altenew fan group on Facebook. which you can join if you just go in, and if you have a Facebook account, you can join that. If you don't use Facebook, you can use other social media. Just make sure you are public and publicly adding hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. Otherwise, I won't be able to find it. All right, where'd my yellow go? There it is. All right, we've got the mid yellow. So we'll just be finishing this off with the center. And I'm going to grab ink blending brush that is yellow. And just go right over that. And then there is a detail layer here. And, you know, I'm just going to use the orange cream because it's here. I could pull out another yellow. I'm not too worried about it. This is a rainbow card, you know? Got to use all those rainbow colors. This just gets lined up, and it's going to add just that little bit of extra detail that we want. Go pretty lightly on there. Okay. So I am loving how this is coming out so far, and I'm probably going to work on it now after I sign off. I'll just stay here and finish it. Make those decisions with how I'm going to do the last flower up top. But here you go. You can see how it's coming out. Again, this is not indicative of what it looks like. It's that angle. Okay. So very weird glare thing happening here. So I have a little bit more inking to do. This is the Radiant Rainbow Challenge, and you can see what a different look you get from the sample here. So the samples that we have in the insert card is pretty traditional looking, right? Like the same kind of colors, same greens, same pinks. And look at how you can just really get something unexpected, something really magical by just using some rainbow colors. So I'm really excited to see how you guys interpret this theme of using the rainbow. And for this card, I think what I'll probably do is finish that and then maybe just add a simple sentiment strip or something down here, because I really don't want to cover up all of that beautiful rainbow ink blending that I did. So keep these in mind as you're creating, even if you're not intending to do a rainbow project. It's just fun to use these techniques, like using 2 different colors to blend your leaves, using 2 different colors to blend each flower. And it's just a way of looking at your colors differently, a way of thinking about the color wheel differently. Give me a second to pop back up to the front camera. Hello, hello. I am sorry if I missed some of your comments. I actually don't really think I was looking too much at all during it. You have about like 30 seconds right now if you want to share us while we're live, because once I stop the live video, then you are no longer eligible to win that $15 gift certificate. But if you play along and you share with our hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, then you are also in the running to win a gift certificate to the Altenew store for $15. So I can't wait to check out your Radiant Rainbow projects. Shannon says, can you do the challenge with some Altenew products mixed with other brands? Yes, you don't have to use any Altenew products. You don't. Do I want you to? Yes. I would love you to use Altenew products, but use what you have, use what works for you. Plus, I understand there might be some people here joining us that are just checking out Altenew, and maybe you have a friend who said, hey, go watch this challenge or check out their social media, and you don't have any Altenew products. I don't want you to be disqualified because you don't have our products. So use what you can. If you have Altenew products and you think it would work for your project, please do, because that makes me excited, especially since I've designed a lot of the products in the Altenew shop. It's just really nice to get to see what people do with it. A lot of times it's things that I didn't even consider when I was designing them, because I have my own style in mind when I'm creating, and I can't know or guess how other people with their unique points of view are going to use and see that product. So I like it when you guys use Altenew products, but it is not a requirement for this challenge, and you don't have to submit a finished project. So we've had 1 or 2 winners before that were incompletes. So if you have time to craft and you don't have time to finish, please still share it. I'd love to see your progress, and you are still eligible to win even if you share an incomplete project. Just make sure that it fits the prompt being radiant rainbow, and I would love to see a rainbow of colors. It could be a traditional rainbow, it could be a pastel rainbow, it could be a neon rainbow, however you see the rainbow and whatever colors you are inspired to use. Okay, so I think we've got most of the comments addressed either by me or by Angel. If there's something that you guys don't get an answer to, and if I miss it, maybe going back in the comments later, just shoot an email to our customer care team and they will help you out too. All right, my friends, I want to say thank you one more time for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful, amazing, and crafty day. Bye-bye.